How are we doing? Good? I tried to bribe Jack to get on before him because there's no way I'd be able to beat that speech. But guys, quick question. How many of you guys here have checked your phone, sent a message, maybe checked your Facebook while this TED Talk has been going on? I didn't expect you to raise your hands, but you can raise your hands if you want. Most of us don't know it, but we suffer from ADHD, a lot of us now in this day and age. How many times has your attention been dragged and pulled daily? We are losing our ability to focus, and more importantly, we're losing our ability to have time for ourselves. A friend of mine, entrepreneur and marketing guru, Eben Pagan, has a phrase that I love, and it's called the elusive obvious. And the elusive obvious is things hidden in plain sight. And I want to tell you a story about something that was very elusively obvious in my life. When I was in school, I used to get pulled out of class every day for an hour to a special class because I was diagnosed as having slight dyslexia. And I used to think, what's wrong with me? Why can't I not just stay in class with the normal kids? What's wrong with me? What's the problem with me? And then I went to secondary school, and I was a messer. I'm not going to lie. I used to sit on my own because none of the teachers would let anyone else sit beside me. And I remember my friends, when we meet up recently, they'd say to me, "Hey, Darren, do you remember that time you put on the teacher's jacket and went around class and acted like the teacher and then he walked in on you?" And I would go, "No, I actually don't remember that. I have no idea of that memory." And this would happen a lot. This happened regularly, where my friends would remember my memories. And you'd think things like that would make you laugh, and you can all talk about that. It's something that you cherish and bring with you. But I had no memory of this. And I used to go, what is wrong with me? What is wrong with my memory? Why can't I remember these precious memories? And then I went to college, and I failed college twice. It took me 4.5 years to complete a 2-year course. And again, I asked my question, why can't I just remember things? Why can't I learn? What is wrong with me? But the one thing I do remember is through all that time, I would go home and I would play video games for 8 hours all day, surf the internet. And back then we had dial-up, if anyone remembers the dial-up connection. And I would spend all night on the internet. And what I realized I was doing was something called information overload. So I did a bit more research into this, and I figured out I was having something called working memory overload. And those who are not familiar with what working memory is, it's really responsible for kind of 3 things in your life. It's responsible for the intake of your information. It's responsible, so basically your focus, your willpower. It's also responsible for the information you take in and link it with information you already know. And then it's also responsible for your behavioral response based on that information. Basically, how are you now going to use this new information in your life? So basically, it's the driving seat in your kind of conscious brain. And what I was doing was overloading this to a point where I couldn't remember things, I couldn't take in new information in, and the information I did take in, I would easily forget. But what's more important is, when I realized this, I decided to take a digital diet. That means not go on Facebook, or as hard it was, not check my phone. And I did it for a while, and I tried to limit my video game time. And I started to find some quiet time for reflection, which I hated. I hated that. I can't just do nothing with my time. I have to do something with it. And for the first time, I started to find some clarity in my thoughts. My memory started to get a slightly bit better, and my communication became a bit more analytical, and I could talk without going off into some random tangent. And what I realized was that technology was having an effect on my brain. And I picked up a book. The first book I ever read outside of school was a 150-page book on body language. And it took me 4 months to read this book. I would read 2 pages and just fall asleep. I can't do this because my brain was not used to this type of learning. I wasn't used to this type of information. Ladies and gentlemen, quiet time and time for reflection is the most human aspect we have. Some of the most greatest and influential people who changed the face of the globe needed quiet time and to get away from the information and the noise. From the Buddha, who went on his own journey of solitude to try and find the meaning of life, nirvana, and try and end suffering in his own life, to Muhammad, who spent 20 years going up and down to a cave in a mountain to meditate before he ever heard one utterance of the Quran, to Jesus Christ, who would mostly pray on his own and be in solitude with himself and his Creator. Ladies and gentlemen, if there's anything you can take away from my talk tonight, any idea at all, is that quiet time, we're losing it. We're losing our time. We're losing our time to technology. Time is the only commodity we really have, and I know a few speakers have touched on that already today, but it really is your only commodity. Because if you don't take back your attention, technology will take it, and it'll take your time as well. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you have a great night, and thank you.